We all remember Tyrannosaurus Rex chasing Ben Stiller through the American Museum of Natural History on New York City's Upper West Side. But what else can museums tell us about the city of New York today on Inside the Broker's Studio? There are so many museums, I bet you haven't heard of them all. There's PS1 Contemporary Art Center, the Noguchi Museum, the Met Brewer, the Ukrainian Museum, the Whitney Museum of American Art. But museums themselves are much more than tourist attractions, and when you think about how many there are in our fair city of New York, it's really staggering. South Street Seaport Museum, the New York City Police Museum and Fire Museum, a separate museum, El Museo del Barrio. What goes into a museum? Well, first of all, museums are usually chartered and funded in the long term. They have a foundation bankrolling them. Whenever you have a museum, hopefully the case may be, and it usually is the case in New York, it's a business that will stay in business for a long time, no matter what the economy does. New York City gets 60 million tourists a year, so these attractions are very important. Museum of Jewish Heritage, Rose Center, the Guggenheim Museum, also the Goethe House, the museum at FIT. But more than just tourist attractions, museums employ archivists, historians. The economy that surrounds a museum is not that different from the economy that surrounds a university. Let's think about how many museums there are here in New York. Well, you have the Brooklyn Museum. You have the Intrepid Museum, where the largest piece in the whole exhibition is the boat itself. The Statue of Liberty and the Ellis Island Museum, the Anne Frank Museum, the 9/11 Museum at Ground Zero, the New York City Transit Museum in downtown Brooklyn, where you can see old train cars. There is a Museum of Sex, the American Museum of the Moving Image, American Folk Art Museum, Carnegie Hall, Central Park Zoo, the Children's Museum, and the list goes on. All of these museums bring scholars, tourists, and an economy to New York City that's unparalleled anywhere else in the world. And the real estate around these museums reflects that. Thank you so much for joining me, David Rosen, on this installment of Inside the Broker's Studio.